Hello everyone. In this video I will show you how you can use PowerPoint to draw diagrams like that. This type of diagrams that I use very often in my slides, and I will try to show you the different steps that you can take to reproduce this type of diagram. Okay, so obviously we are going to start with the axis. So we are going to use this shape right here. What you can do when you draw the axis is to hold Shift, so you will be sure that your line remains horizontal or vertical. Okay, so let's start with the axis. So let's put it in dark color, and the weight I'll usually put 3 points. Okay, copy and paste to get the vertical axis. No problem. Let's try to make sure they match. It looks good enough. Okay. Second stage, let's add some labels. Insert text box right there. So I will just reproduce the previous diagram about the equilibrium of the Monopoly. So on the horizontal axis I can put quantity or output. Usually I put it in bold. Okay, good. And vertical axis, well, usually we put price, but I don't think it's a very good idea because we represent revenue curves and cost curves. So instead I would rather put cost and revenue. I think it's a better description of what we actually see. Okay, good. Now let's start with the demand curve. Insert, so I just want a straight line, no problem, it's here. So it will start, I don't know, maybe here. Okay, downward sloping, we know it's downward sloping. Usually I put it, let's put it in dark blue, yeah. And weight, I usually put 4.5 points, all right. And I will copy and paste, and I will do some, like the marginal revenue curve, which has the same vertical intercept, but it is going to be twice steeper. Let's put it in, I don't know, yeah, dark green, why not? Usually you see what we have here, something I don't like very much. You see that these curves are on the top of the vertical axis, so what you can do is to click to arrange and to bring it to the front. Yeah, I think it's more beautiful like that, but it's just my personal opinion. Let's add some labels for those curves. So same thing, copy and paste, and let's call that average revenue. Why not? We know that the demand curve is the average revenue. And what I usually do, I put it the same color as the curve. I think it makes it easier to identify which curve we are labeling. So we'll do the same thing for the marginal revenue right here, marginal revenue. Okay, same color as the curve itself. Right. Okay. Now let's do the average total cost. So this one is interesting because it's a U-shape, a curve. So what we are going to do, we are going to use this shape, this curve, and the way you use it, you click to start like the shape, and then you click when you want it to bend. Okay, so it's a U-shape, so maybe something like that, up, and then you can continue. All right, and we have a beautiful U-shape, and you click twice on the left button of the mouse, so you can finish the curve. Oh, what's going on? Go back. Right. Let's change the color. Let's put it in orange. Why not? Same thing. Weight will be 4.5. All right. So that's going to be my average. Let's put it somewhere here. My average total cost curve. Let's put some label. Label, same thing. Average total cost. We'll put it in the same color. All right. And I would like to do exactly the same thing for the marginal cost curve, and make sure it cuts the average total cost in its minimum. So you can start from below and then just make sure that it does cut the average total cost in its minimum. Let's put it in red. Same weight, 4.5. and let's add some labels. Marginal cost, same thing, same color as the curve. Good. Right, that's a pretty good start. Let's have a look. Yeah, so far so good. Now let's try to represent the equilibrium of the monopolist. So we know that this is where the marginal cost is equal to the marginal revenue. So what I usually do, I introduce like some kind of cross, like a dark black cross, where those two curves intersect, like this point there. I didn't really find a good way to do that, so I have a trick to do it. I use this like the rectangle shape. I hold shift, so it makes a square, something like that. Okay, I have a square. And then I use the straight line. I hold shift once again. I have the first diagonal. I put it in black, usually size 3. Okay, and then I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but the other diagonal. Same thing, I hold shift. Okay, good. Black, size 3. Okay. And I can select it and I will put it together. Right click, group, and I group together. I hold shift so it remains, the proportions are kept. Okay, and I have a beautiful cross. Right, there's probably a faster way to do it, but that's the only one I have so far. Okay, so now we are ready to draw the dotted lines. So we can put some labels on the vertical and horizontal axis. So let's use the line tool. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with the vertical line. So I press shift. So I have to guarantee that it's going to be exactly vertical. That's good. Usually I put it in black and the weight is 2.25. Okay. And then once I have that, I go to dashes and then you can put a dash. Right. Good. We can add a label on the horizontal axis. So usually what I do, because we use a lot of superscripts and subscripts, so I find it quite convenient to use the equation tool. So you can go to insert equation, or you can just press Alt and the plus on your keyboard. I'm not going to do bold, and then you can just do Q, oops, one will be enough, QM, up, space, and you have it. Good. In the middle. Yeah, good. Right, now that I have the label on the horizontal axis, I can put the label on the vertical axis, put the equilibrium price, so we know that the equilibrium price is actually the demand price at the equilibrium quantity. Okay, looks pretty good. Yes. Right, copy and paste. We are going to put this equilibrium price there. So just replace U by P. Okay, that's alright. And the last thing we can do is actually identify the profit graphically. So we know it's a difference between the price and the average total cost, of course, for the equilibrium quantity, multiplied by this equilibrium quantity. So let's just add one label on the vertical axis. Okay, and then I want to shade this area. So we'll use the rectangle tool. Alright, rectangle tool. Okay, should be fine. I will just delete the outline, no outline, and I will choose one color. I don't know, this one looks good. Okay, and then I will send it into the back, up, like this. And what I usually do, I add one, I give it a name inside, and usually the profit is use the letter capital Pi. So you can use the equation tool and go to Greek letters, and you have the uppercase Greek letters. You can use Pi. You can put it in bold, why not, and with like a dark color. Oh, maybe not this one in italic. It's, yeah, something like that. Right? Doesn't look too bad, does it? It's fine. And usually what I do, because I really like my students to see different steps to build the diagram is once the diagram is complete, I go backwards. So I just duplicate slides and I delete the last stage, and I do that until there is nothing left, basically. And I think it's quite helpful for the student. Oops, stay there, because they can see, yeah, the different stages to build the diagram, and I think it's easier to understand what the message is, and even for them when they will have to draw the diagrams for the exam, it makes it easier to remember how to do it. So I just delete everything step by step. I can even delete the axis, why not? Okay, and then let's have a look. Okay, from the beginning, so nothing. And then when you teach it, you can actually comment stage after stage, and I find that very handy, very, very handy. And you have this type of diagram. Pretty cool. Right, and to conclude this video, I will just show you a few extra tools that can be quite helpful that I use in some of my diagrams. So let's have a quick look. When you want to show like a shift, it's very useful to use this arrow tool. Okay, so convenient. Usually the border I always put it in black, and the color inside I put it as the same color as the new curve. So if you have a shift, the rightward shift of the supply curve, I put it in the color of the new supply curve, and the outline you can put it slightly thicker. Yeah, something like that. Apart from that, I use a lot of these. I have no idea how we call that in English. This shape, often usually in black, could be 2 point, yeah. Let's say I do it horizontally. It's, for example, if I have a recessionary gap, like the gap between the potential output and the actual output, I can use this tool. But I don't really like it like that, so usually what I do is I just use that. I think it looks better. It looks better like this, right? Yeah. What else do I use in terms of shapes? I use this one, for example, for the production possibility curve. You can make like it looks better, I think. It really looks like a concave PPT production possibility curve. So if just to give you an idea, okay, it looks better than if you try just to do it. If you try to use this tool, there it's not going to be very good, right? So this is much cleaner. What else do I use? That's pretty much it, I think. This one, I use this tool when I want to show a movement. Oops, sorry. When I want to show a movement along a curve, I think this tool is pretty good. So this is of course too thick, but you can make it thinner. You can adjust it with this. You can just adjust the shape of your arrow, and yeah, I think it's pretty good to show movements along a curve. I think that's about it. That's pretty much all I use to do the diagrams. Yeah, I think so. So if you use all these tips, these short tips, you can actually draw pretty decent diagrams.